What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better.
Okay.
The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, how do you, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless?
When the Fed is in play, it can mean everything, especially if you know that the Fed cares about some pieces of data more than others. Right now, the Fed is very much in play. We've been getting some hot economic data of late, suggesting that they don't have much reason to cut interest rates, which is unfortunate because rate cuts are like oxygen for the bulls. Fortunately, there are numbers that can counteract the no rate cut scenario. And for example, today, we got a cooler than expected U.S. personal consumption expenditures number from the Bureau of Economic Analysis in the Commerce Department. Now, I know that sounds like authentic a Wall Street of new supply, right? We have one customer who's one of the retail apps that pretty much buys $30 to $35 million a day just with us. And I'm sure we're not the only person they buy with, right? There is a tremendous global demand for Bitcoin. And so when you see what's driving the market day to day right now is at 8 o'clock at night, all the ETFs talk about how much they bought or sold. And, you know, it was $500 million or $400 million. As long as those numbers stay positive, you're going to see some momentum in Bitcoin. The first day they go negative, people are going to sell off Bitcoin because they think, oh, the ETF funds are going to slow. And so that's kind of like the insider's way of looking at this in the short term. But that's a little myopic. You know, let's look each month at what the total flows into Bitcoin is from that ETF community plus other communities. You know, after the halving, that 54 million goes to 27 million. I mean, that's a bid-ask spread right now. And so there's just not a lot of supply. This is one of the least inflationary assets or most deflationary assets there is. It's why, you know, when you see our government spending so much money, people are drawn to this narrative. Plenty of liquidity, which means that lots of people are getting leveraged. I think the market is too leveraged right now. It happens after huge runs. You have leverage at the max, at the highs. There will be a washout. I don't know when it is, today, tomorrow, 2 weeks, a month. It'll be, you know, I hate to call things healthy washouts because it never feels healthy when you lose money. And when there's a washout, the price will go down. But there will be a washout. People can't sustain this much leverage. And remember, a lot of the offshore trading platforms can give you 50, 60, 70 to 1 leverage. And so you got a lot of, you know, millennials and Gen Z YOLOing it. And they will get, some will make money and a lot of them will get wiped out. How do you, for the community, will Ethereum ETF get through? I know it doesn't feel like the SEC is making it easy. Are we, you know, the same logic that the Bitcoin ETF got through on, which was there's already a futures ETF. If you believed in that, how dare you not believe in a cash ETF? Holds for Ethereum. And so my bias is it gets through sometime this year. But we'll see. You know, Gary Gensler has been very careful about not declaring Ethereum a security. And you can have your own idea why. I'm sorry, not declaring Ethereum not a security. And you can have your own hypothesis why or why not. I would say it opens the gate if one proof of stake, you know, crypto protocol like Ethereum is not a security. Well, what about the next one and the next one and the next one? And so all of a sudden his argument that these are all securities would probably go out the window. And so I'm sure there's a lot of internal to and fro around this question. But the reality is we already have an Ethereum futures ETF, and that was the logic that got the Bitcoin ETF approved. And so my bias is it happens.
What about you? Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have Elon Musk says mass unemployment is on its way. And we know the robots, algorithms, and drones are about to take over this economy, and the sheep are going inside the metaverse. Get that free money, airdrop, and we know Elon is talking about that universal basic income, and we're seeing it tested globally. Now we have Jim Cramer talks about the Fed move because he knows it's about to affect the market. And we know the Fed also is going to be shrinking liquidity. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have Mike Novogratz, and we know anytime we're pumping Mike Novogratz pump, they're all over these financial channels. He said he had a client that's buying 30 to 35 million a day. And he says we're too leveraged, and that means we're going to have a pullback. But we see all this big money coming in, and we know it's the big banks and big corporations. They make money whether it goes up or down. And that's something you have to understand. If you've been with me from the beginning, you know that's the reason why you want to hedge yourself the same way they're going to hedge themselves. They don't care whether it goes 50% down because it's not their money anyway. It's money they just printed off the printing press. They can hold out for 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, and you have to have the same strategy. We know the goal, and that's the fourth industrial revolution. And he talks about the Ethereum spot ETF. And I definitely think we're going to get it, but it's going to be later on down the road because I just have a feeling we're going to have a distraction, and crypto is the one that's going to be blamed. But we had the CFTC on several occasions say that Ethereum is not a security. And we have Bitwise says the hedge fund guys are in. And remember, guys, like I stated, they make money whether it goes up or down. They will run it up, dump it, run it up, dump it. The Fed just doesn't say, I took your money. But all you have to do is remember you're in a simulation. You're in a plan. It moves in phases. But the fact is you have the blueprint. Get in the lab and strategize. Remember, my people perish from the lack of knowledge because they reject it. Not because it's not there, because they reject it. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Investing directly in Bitcoin, how much of it is the ETF? How much of it is institutions in the ETF?
Absolutely. It's a great question. We're seeing enormous demand for the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF and across all of these ETFs. And the answer is it's all of those categories. You're seeing retail investors come into these ETFs. You're seeing hedge funds. You're seeing RIAs or independent financial advisors. I think there's an even bigger wave coming in a few months as we start to see the major wirehouses turn on. But this has been Bitcoin's IPO moment. It's in a new era of price discovery. And I think prices could go substantially higher from here. Yeah, absolutely. You know, when these ETFs first launch, they're not turned on at the major wirehouses, at the major institutions. So the initial demand out of the gate for any ETF, including these, is primarily retail and independent financial advisors and hedge funds. So I think that's the primary driver. That's what we're seeing. Right. But I'll tell you, after this meeting, I'm getting on a plane to go talk to one of the largest institutional consultants in the U.S. about this ETF. So we're going to see that next wave of institutional capital come. And we said that Bitcoin would trade to new all-time highs above $80,000 a coin. Based on what we're seeing in our ETF and these other ETFs, I think we have to revise that upwards. It could be 100,000, it could be 200,000, it could be higher than that. There's simply this massive supply-demand dynamic going on, net new demand and a fixed supply, and actually a reduction in new supply coming up in April with the halvening. Sometimes investing is complex. Sometimes it's easy. With Bitcoin right now, it's just about supply demand, and there's too much demand and not enough supply.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books, It's Time to Re-Educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.